Hello and welcome to another Spectrum Geeks video. My name is Dale, and in today's video we're talking about my solar PV generation here in Worcestershire for the month of June 2024. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. So let's kick it off with the performance of my solar PV system. So I've got a 5.16 kilowatt array on my roof, and that is connected to a 5 kilowatt hybrid GivEnergy inverter, and connected to that are two 9.5 kilowatt hour GivEnergy batteries. I also have a Tesla Powerwall 2, a MyEnergy Zappi, and a MyEnergy Eddy as well. So let's kick off with the stats and talk to you about how the system's performed. A couple of updates on kind of what's been happening since the last update, and then see how things have kind of performed overall, what my thoughts are for basically the second full month of having this new solar PV array. Okay, so as you can see on the screen there, our solar generation for the month was 608.60 kilowatt hours, and we were able to self-consume 566.08 kilowatt hours, and of that 417.43 kilowatt hours went to the home, and 148.65 kilowatt hours that went into the GivEnergy batteries, and then the rest went to the grid, so 42.52 kilowatt hours of energy. One thing that's important to note here, when things say to the home on this screen, obviously the GivEnergy system doesn't know about the other products in the ecosystem, so that's not obviously just going to the home to run fridges, dishwashers, washing machines. That's also the solar energy that went into heating hot water, charging the car, and where applicable the Tesla Powerwall 2 as well. But we'll come on to that in a little bit more details later, because I don't have all the full information and stats to that. You can also see that obviously we pulled a fair chunk from the grid, but again all of that has been during off-peak. So on the Intelligent Octopus Go, it's currently costing 7.5 pence per kilowatt, and again, so even though 803.3 is a lot, you know, it's much cheaper than it would be during peak time. So 651.25 went to the home, and then 152.13 went to the GivEnergy batteries. So in terms of the performance, so as I've already mentioned, 608.60 kilowatt hours of energy generated. The highest day of generation we had was on the 2nd, which is quite interesting, the 2nd of the month, which was 31.58 kilowatt hours total generation, and our worst day was on the 13th, where we only generated 10.16 kilowatt hours. One thing that's interesting, and I'll pop it up on the screen here, one of the days this month we did have GivEnergy back on site to swap one of the batteries out to sort out this kind of charging issue that had been happening. So obviously that did limit generation during the day and forced a emptying and then refilling of the batteries to help with kind of balancing the two batteries and everything. So we'll have a quick look here again at the consumption of the house. So 1,387.80 kilowatt hours of energy consumed, the highest day being on Thursday the 27th. I'm going to guess that was probably the day that I had the batteries replaced, because on that day I had to fully charge up the batteries, also charge the car, and I emptied and refilled the Powerwall as well. And then our lowest day is 22.35 kilowatt hours. So those lower days, where on average it tends to be about 22 kilowatt hours of energy, that's typically with heating the hot water off peak and filling the batteries off peak. That's kind of our normal kind of daily cycle. And then those peaks that we see on those interval days are when basically we've had to be charging the cars. We have 2 electric vehicles in the house. Again, if we look at the battery daily information, so total charged for the month 300.78 kilowatt hours of energy. Highest day of energy going in was on the 26th at 19.67, and the lowest on is 5.02 kilowatt hours on the 27th. And again, we can see in terms of the discharged information, discharged more than we put in, and 18.35 kilowatt hours was the highest discharge that we had over the month. Again, little quick look at our daily imports. So again, Thursday the 27th, we already identified, was the highest day, 57.29 kilowatt hours, and the lowest being 7.79 on Sunday the 30th, which has just gone by. It was actually away at the weekend, which obviously will indicate a bit why we didn't use as much energy. And total exported, which we'll touch on in a moment, 52.21 kilowatt hours of energy exported, which is different to what's tracked here at the top with the 42.52 kilowatt hours. So not really sure what the discrepancy was there on the chart. So in terms of where that energy went, as mentioned, what I can't easily show, and again, this is a frustrating thing that I've mentioned many times in past Solar PV update videos. I can look in the My Energy app and I can see the total for each month of how much energy went into heating hot water or charging the cars, but the app doesn't show you the green bit. So unless you remember on the last day, in the last evening of the month, to go and check your device on the screen itself, you can't see what that balance was in terms of green charging or heating versus grid, which still frustrates the hell out of me. You have an app, obviously the app must have access to the same data that's on those screens. Obviously I didn't get back until late, so forgot to get that data, but I put the information up on the screen in terms of how much energy in total went into heating hot water and charging our cars for the month. And then finally, in terms of the payback, as we kind of mentioned, the way I look at the payback is not with the rose tinted version, where we look at how much money we've saved with gas and everything. Right now we look at that right at the end as I try and calculate things comparative to things that we're benefiting from, because obviously with solar we no longer heat our water with any gas. It's either direct from the grid using immersion or from solar surplus. Obviously we don't have petrol cars anymore, so obviously where we would have to fill up with petrol, we do that via electricity as well, either via solar or the grid, but we're also getting paid a little bit for export as well. So in terms of, again, payback for the month, so in June, 608.60 kilowatt hours of energy generated. We self-consumed 566.08 kilowatt hours of energy. So that's obviously energy we didn't have to buy from the grid, and if we had bought that, it would have cost us £149.28 at the current energy rates. That doesn't include the day rates or the standing charges. And then we exported 42.52 kilowatt hours of energy to the grid, and as of this month we do now get paid for exporting at 15 pence per kilowatt. So that gave us £6.38 in terms of export payments, which brings a total kind of saving and benefit to having the solar, just from an electricity perspective, to £149.28. So again, at the end of the year, when I do a kind of final comparison, we work out what the payback is going to look like. As I mentioned in previous videos, the estimate is that it should be around 6 years. I'm still not too sure, but again, we have had some system performance issues. And as I mentioned last month, we had this issue with the GivEnergy batteries where, kind of regardless of their percentage, even as low as like 30-40%, the charge rate would cut off to around 580 watts instead of the full 3.6 kilowatts. And it turned out cell 8 was an issue in the primary battery, and that was kind of messing up the charging. So I've had one of the primary batteries basically replaced. It's only been not even a week yet, but so far so good. It seems to be charging in the way that I would hope. I think it was Thursday that things were kind of back to normal in terms of what I'm expecting the system to see. So by 10 o'clock, all batteries are charged, water is fully heated, and then anything extra is just going into the cars to charge them up as well. So I hope that kind of gives you a good summary of how the PV system here is working in Worcestershire. I would be interested to see and hear how your systems are performing, again the size of them and everything. And then one thing I might touch upon in a different video, which I don't know if it's an ethical or moral question, but one thing I still can't make a decision about is obviously right now the amount that I can get paid for exporting is higher than that charge of importing. So lots of people obviously are filling their batteries up at night and then exporting their batteries during the day, because obviously they can make a profit from that. And again, yes, you can make a profit, but still haven't decided if that's the right thing to be doing, how that is actually helping the grid or not. And I'm also somewhat considerate of, even though obviously the batteries I have both have unlimited cycles for a certain amount of years, would that kind of fully exporting them to the grid and then obviously more charging essentially increase the wear of the batteries over the time? So yes, even though I'm profiting, would the batteries actually wear out faster than they would if I'm just using it as a general household? So be interested in your thoughts and comments of that in the comment section as well. But as always, thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until the next video, take care of yourself and goodbye for now.